Hello, how are we doing today? My name is Spectrum Dominance, and I will be breaking for you this evening in the 33rd episode of What's in the Box Wednesday. As you can see, we're in a fairly new location. I think I did it last week in this location with the next level grades, but it was day one. The setup was not nearly as good. It's definitely not perfect yet. You can see it's kind of grainy on this camera, but unlike last time, this camera is a lot clearer. You can see and read who the players are, whereas that was problematic last week. So I've got that all straightened out. We're good on that camera, and that's the important camera. You don't need to see my pretty mug all that much. So we're gonna bust through this. We've got a lot of new product from Sugar White. For those of you who are fans of the series, you know that our benefactor, if you will, his name is Stu, called Sugar White in chat. If you see him, he purchases a lot of vintage stuff, 88s, 87, you know, the wax box era junk, cheap, but you know, a throwback to the days when we collected when we were younger and really enjoyed collecting just for the fun of it. He buys those boxes, sends them to me. I open those boxes for him, and what happens then is he gives me a list of the cards he's looking for in those boxes, and whatever those we find, he keeps. I give to him, and then whatever he does, the rest of it he doesn't have interest in. If it's a double of the ones he wants, I get to keep it, and if it's anything he doesn't want, I get to keep it as well. Usually I'll pull out a couple of cards for myself, and then the rest of it just goes to inventory for the store. So if you see anything on here, you'll hear me say, oh, that's one of his, that's one of mine. But if you see stuff that's not being pulled in that way, that you're interested in, you can always write in the comments below. We can work out something. Most of this stuff I just kind of throw into your next shipment for free type information. There's nothing really great in these boxes. So today we're doing 1988 Topps. This is what I consider Spectrum my set. This is the set that I grew up. I bought more 1988 Topps than anything else. I started in 1987. It was late in the year, so I'd already, it had already been out for a while. I just started collecting. A friend of mine got a box for his birthday, and we opened it one night. So it was really nice, but I didn't have a lot of them, and I ended up getting a lot of the 87 back trading and buying older packs. But it was 1988 that I really collected for myself the cards. So this is, from a nostalgia aspect, this is what I consider and also I consider the worst set of all time. But that's okay. I love it. I love it for that reason. What we're opening today is what is called a vending box. All right. Let me go back to this other camera until full camera. This is a vending box. Now, if you buy a vending box in 2022, what you get some. It's still like blue like this, but you get like X number of cards, plus you get 5 inserts that maybe even exclusive. I'm not even sure about that. That's not how vending boxes were back in 1990s and early 80s. These were exclusively sent to card shop owners so that they could like complete sets, fill the inventory. It's just full of the cards from the set. There's nothing special, nothing outside of the base set in these cards. The only inserts you're going to see are not inserts, they're subsets, which the difference between an insert and subset is an insert is a additional set that is inserted into the packs. A subset is a set inside the set, but it's still numbered along with the other set. One of the sets you'll find in Topps back in the 80s is the All-Star set. In the middle of the set, there was always a section where they had All-Star cards, but they were still numbered as part of the set. That's a subset, not an insert. We'll find some of those All-Star cards today. Or the record breakers, we'll find those today too. We won't find any inserts that are separate from the set. Everything will be numbered from 1 to 800. I think that's how many cards were in the set back in that day. So 792 probably, if I remember right. So that's what we're opening here. There's nothing special other than searching for players from that time. People like Barry Bonds and Nolan Ryan and there's not even a lot of great rookies. Tom Glavine's rookies in the set, but almost nothing in the set is really that's considered, like I said, the worst set of all time. The other thing about vending boxes is they're not packs. Any other box type you buy, for the most part, you're going to get a bunch of different packs. 10 packs with 16 cards in it, or 3 packs with 4 cards in it, whatever. This is literally 500 cards stuck in a box together, and there's no packaging. They're not sealed. There's no seal outside of the box. So a lot of people don't buy vending boxes, and the reason why is unless you can find a distributor that you trust. If you buy like a vending box on eBay, there's a good chance that people will go through, pull the great cards out. Say I pulled 30 cards, put 30 cards in common, and then sell it off as a vending box, and you're not actually getting a vending box, you're getting 500 commons. So there's no way to stop that, and you'll see that when we open in a second. But let's get going so you can see what I mean. Here we are. We have the vending box, and you can see there's no wrapping. They're just sitting here. You can see the top is already, so anyone can open this and just do whatever they want with it. So most people don't collect vending boxes unless you are someone who is a completionist and want to complete sets. That's something I'd love to do in the future. I have to get a house and a place, and not that I don't have, but the place is just overrun with stuff. So if I ever get a room that's organized enough that I can put boxes and say, okay, here we go, 1988 Topps, I have, and I'm getting rid of, I'm going to start from scratch and build it from 2023 on, which is my plan. Then I may get some vending boxes just to do that. But without further ado, let's open the boxes. You can see this is what I'm talking about. It is just a box of 500 Topps 88 cards. So how I'm going to do this is I'm just going to put the box over here to the side. You can kind of see it in this camera. I'm going to take a stack, and I'm just going to thumb through them on the side over here until we go through all the box. All right. So another thing you may hear me say is I've just decided one of the things I'm doing in collecting is I'm putting my all-time teams together. For each all-time team, the way I'm looking at it is everything is 25 cards, whether it be baseball, football, basketball, or hockey. So I had to figure out what it meant and how it means to create a 25-card team. So with baseball, what I'm doing is 5 starters, 5 starting pitchers, 2 of each position. So if you think of a DH as the pitching position and ignore the pitchers for a second, you have 9 players with the DH taking over in the batting order. So I do that twice would be 18, plus 5 pitchers is 18 plus 5 pitchers is 23, 1 relief pitcher, and then a team card. I will find somewhere along the way a team card that I think is the best whatever team card, and that would be in the set. And those are the 25 cards that complete my all-time team sets. It's not the all-time team of the greats. It's the all-time team that has something to do with me. So an example is when I grew up, I was a Yankees fan. This was before there were Rays. And the third baseman for the link that I watched the Yankees with my dad was Mike Pagliarulo. Now, if you're making a Yankees all-time team, your third basemen, if you're doing 2, should be Wade Boggs and Alex Rodriguez, assuming you don't go back to retro times that I don't even know about. You know, I don't know the Mickey Mantle errors third baseman. That's stuff I'll have to research. But Mike Pagliarulo, I can barely even say the name, will be one of my 2 third basemen. I don't know who the second one was. So as I'm going through this, you may hear me go, oh, there's one of my guys, or one of the guys that will make my team that I hadn't thought of. Just to give you some insight into what I'm saying when I'm talking here, okay? All right, so starting off with Clyde R. Washington, Robbie Thompson, Rick Rhoden, Rafael Ramirez, Jack Clark. Didn't think about Jack Clark. He may make a roster somewhere, but I don't think it'd be the Cardinals. Maybe. Speaking of the devil, Mike Pagliarulo. So what I would do if I was doing this now is I would sleeve this, I would top load it, and I would stick it in the spot. And then if I can find a Mike Pagliarulo that is a better card, I would replace that card with this card with that card, and slowly build up until I have the best cards I can of every player that I consider. So that's kind of how I've decided I'm going to start start a collection. I figured with 32 hockey teams, 32 baseball teams, 30 football teams, 32 football teams, 30 baseball teams, 30 basketball teams, that's 164 teams. Did I do that right? No, 124 teams. That's a good way to start my collecting, and then I'll have a whole bunch of other stuff I'm planning to do going forward too. But you guys don't want to hear all that right now. You just want to hear Dale Murphy is a nice Brave. He is almost definitely going to make the team. Dwight Gooden, he is definitely one of the Mets I consider for pitching. All right, you guys don't want to hear that anymore. Just Rafael Santana, Bill Wegman, Dave Stewart, Brian Dayett. I'll only bring it up if it's one that I haven't thought about and I need to consider. Ed Nunez, John Tudor. You know what? I also have over here errors and variations list. I went over it right before I saw this, actually a couple hours ago. Let me still have it up. So let's bring it so it's here so I can see it. 1988. We have several errors. Fourth million. The Mark McGuire, the Eddie Murray, the Al Leiter. I want to look at the Burt Blyleven, although I'm not interested in really. There's a checklist one I don't care about. And there's Keith Comstock color variation I want to look at. So if those come up, I just want to remember that those exist so that if they happen to come up, the sound is choppy. You started collecting with this set? I absolutely started collecting with this set. This is the set that I started with as I started. It's good to see you, Kurt. Eric, I don't know why the sound is choppy. I think that it's going to be that way for several weeks, mainly because I'm filming multiple episodes today. But hopefully it clears up a little. Dennis Boyd, Denny Martinez, Checklist, Len Sakata, Bruce Bocci, Al Newman, Floyd Bannister, Bill Gulkerson, Keith Hernandez, that's the first baseman. I said Keith, though, I remember that one. That's one of the ones I remember. I was surprised how many how many positions and how many players I couldn't think of when I was doing this. I was like, I can't think of a single Expo, or I can't think of a single, red, which isn't true. I thought of a lot, but that's why going through this is going to help me. I'm going to be like, oh yeah, that guy and that guy. Ozzie Guillen, I consider him for White Sox. Ooh, Robbie Thompson for the second baseman. That's one. I chased him down back in the day. I thought he was going to be better. All right. First record breaker, Benito Santiago. San Diego Padres catcher, Bill Matlock. Padres leader, Tony Gwynn. One of, if not the best player of all time. Vicente Palenko. Pat Keedy. Tom Foley. And Mike Mason. All right. Nothing in that first stack to get excited over. But I'd say that was a little less than 50, and this is going to be a little more than 50, so we'll be about 1/5 of the way through, 20% of the way through after this, I think. David Cohn, there's one of my favorite guys. Matt Noakes, All-Star. Dan Quisenberry. Andres Thomas. Dan Clark. Sean Hilgess. Tim Rock Raines. Donnie Hill. Dave Winfield, that's definitely one of my guys. Charlie LeBryant, Matt Williams, that's one of my guys. That's a Williams rookie. I remember that. Roger Clemens, All-Star. Fred McGriff for the Blue Jays. Ray Knight. Chili Davis. John Marzano. Jim Lindemann. BJ Surhoff. I forgot about him. That's a catcher that I could use for the Brewers. See how many other Brewers there are. Ozzie Guillen, Carlton Fisk, Jeff Robinson, Damasco Garcia, Mark Eichhorn, Walt Terrell, Terry Steinbach, Giants leader. There's some Will Clark right there. Love me some Will Clark. Dan Pasqua, Franklin Stubb, Sid Fernandez, someone I may have to consider as a Mets pitcher, although the Mets pitching's over time, I don't know that Sid's going to make it. There's here's some of our first dupes. Yep, and maybe in the same order, or may have just been coincidence that we had those 3 or 4. Marty Barrett, Jay Tibbs, Mets leaders Gary Clark and Kevin Elster. I didn't think about Kevin Elster. Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonilla. That's a really cool card. See, like if I was putting my Pirates one together, this would be my Pirates team card until I found something cooler. Mitch Williams, Dave Concepcion, Dave Lapointe, Randy Bush, Mark Clear, Lee Guterman, Vance Law, Mike LaVallare, record breaker Phil and Joe Necro, Al Nipper, Rick Cerrone, Brett Butler, Tim Conroy, Jerry Rios, Bob Kipper, Bobby Meacham, Fernando Valenzuela. I didn't think about Fernando Valenzuela, but he'll definitely be one of my Dodgers pitchers. Lloyd Mosby, Danny Heap, Bob Patterson, Ken Landreau, Pedro Guerrero. Didn't think about Pedro Guerrero either. I'm not sure he's going to make it just because Dodgers outfield's kind of stacked, but we'll see. Jeff Ballard, Les Lancaster, Rick Leach, Mike Henneman, Mark McGwire. Okay, there's our first card, one of Stu's cards. Now, he did ask for a Barry Bonds, and we did pull that team leader Barry Bonds. He didn't ask for that, but if he sees that and realizes it, he may want that one as well. But we're just gonna let's take a moment and let's look at that. That's in pretty good shape. It's a little off-centered this way, but other than that, corners are nice. All right, that's a nice Mark McGwire there, Sugar. Congratulations. Bam. First one done. Let's hope we get another one in just as good shape. All right, Pascual Perez, Kevin Seitzer, rookie, Jose Guzman. And by the way, I say Mark McGwire rookie. I only said that. I meant Topps All-Star Rookie Cup. He has an 87 rookie, and in all honesty, he also has an 85, which is, you know, a true rookie. I don't think. I mean, his first card is his USA card in 85 Topps, but this definitely isn't his rookie. But it is the one that gets his rookie All-Star Cup. Matt Young, Dave Anderson, Glenn Wilson, Jeff Montgomery, and Mitch Webster. All right, much better that second stack I grabbed. And the fact that we pulled that McGwire gives you that safety that this box has not been gone through. There is not much worth going through in this box, but if you're going to take anything out of it, it's going to be that McGwire, you know. All right, Mike Heath, Bo Diaz, Jesse Orosco, Mark McLemore, Phil Lombardi, Steve Shields, Greg Harris, Dave Joe Price, Chris Brown, Johnny Grubb, Willie Upshaw, Jimmy Jones, Jack Howell, Tracy Jones, John Mitchell, Moose Haas, Cal Daniels, Ray Surge, Jerry Brown, R.J. Reynolds. There's Gary Gaetti. I was talking about him yesterday, but I couldn't remember. I said he was a third baseman, but I wasn't 100% sure. I was correct. Yesterday I was working. I was driving. As you guys know, I drive for, you know, Uber and Lyft at times for some extra money. And I was driving around with an empty car and I was putting the teams together in my head, which was a lot harder to do than I thought. So when I'd get there, I'd be like, well, I know that there's these players. I know the Detroit Tigers have Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker as their shortstop and second baseman, but who am I missing that's the third baseman? Or, you know, that kind of a thing. So when I see someone, that's what's like, oh, I thought he was this, and I was, oh, I'm cheating. If the cards kind of did the whole, they're standing up and fell over, and it fell over to a card that has an error, and I want to know if it's the error or not. But I'm not going to look. I didn't look. Jim Wynn, Ron Darling, Kurt Wilkerson, Steve Crawford, Mike Flanagan, Randy Reddy, Mark Ryle, Don Sutton, Tim Wallach, Don Carmen, Scott Bankhead, Tim Flannery, Craig Lefferts, Dave Righetti. Now this is absolutely one of my Yankee pitchers. The Yankee pitchers are kind of hard for me because I came up with 2 guaranteeds, and then I said the other 3 are going to probably come out of these 5 without me even looking into the past, you know. So, but Dave Righetti is absolutely one of my Yankee pitchers. Ivan Calderon, Ron Kittle, Ozzie Smith, the Wizard of Oz, Willie Wilson, the Royals. Didn't think about him. Don't know that there's that much better than Willie Wilson in Kansas City. I couldn't think of a lot of Kansas City players. Jody Reed, Stan Jefferson, Steve Jeltz, Ed Romero, Mike Bielecki. There's the Bo Jackson he's looking for. No, he's not looking for it. Well, I am. I will absolutely be looking for that Bo Jackson. Now that Bo Jackson, as you can see, is cut pretty bad, both right and up. All right, Jim Eisenreich. He almost always takes the bows, so I just assumed. But now that I'm looking at his list, and he did not ask for the bows this time. There's the Tom Glavine rookie, though, that he's looking for, and that centering's pretty nice on that. Let's not bang it up, getting in the sleeve, and see what we get. What we got here. That centering is much better than the McGuire or the... Now, there's a little bit of a spot right there. I'm hoping that's on the plastic and not the card. But it's a little top, but very little top. Little right, but very little right. The corners, that corner's a little bent in. The other 3 are really nice. Still think it's a pretty good... gets a pretty good grade. I will say this, I was expecting these cards to be a lot more banged up, having come in this box without sleeves. Not sleeves, without packaging. But they're actually in pretty good shape. Teddy Higuera, Doug DeCines, Mike Diaz, and Milt Thompson. All right. Let's tilt this over so they don't fall over anymore. Grab the next stack. There is at least 2 cards in this next stack that I'm interested in seeing. One was an All-Star and one was a record breaker. So here we go. We got Tom Henke, Richard Dodson, Lance McCullers, Tigers leader Kirk Gibson. Didn't think about Kirk Gibson. No, I did think about Kirk Gibson. Didn't think about him as a Tiger though. But I think about him as a Dodger, I think. Bob McClure, Dave Smith, Mark Langston. Did think about him. Is that Hubie Brooks and Tom Foley, Dwayne Henry, Dave Meads, Chris Bozio, Andre Dawson, the Hawk. Completely forgot about the Hawk. Completely forgot about Andre Dawson. So there's someone. Danny Cox, India's leader, Joe Carter, and Corey Snyder. Corey Snyder. There's Andre Dawson's All-Star card. Ken Obertfeld, Scott Fletcher, Brad Arnsberger, George Frazier. There is a Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco, team leaders. Now that's cut terribly to the left. How much extra white is over here, but still, that's didn't need to put it down. Doug Drabeck, that's still a nice card from back in the day. Doug Drabeck, I remembered him. Wade Boggs, I remembered him. Some nice Boggs. Bob Melvin, Dennis Rasmussen, Joe Boever, Tony Armas, Scott Biles. There's the Mark McGuire record breaker, and this one there's an error and I have it, or at least I used to have it. I think I still have it. I have a stack of errors. I really did love collecting the errors. Sat today and looked at what errors were available in this stuff. That's something I'm going to be doing going forward. But I've got to be more picky with the errors that I want to keep. I don't need to keep something because it's missing a trademark. It has to have a visual error, or it has to be on a, like the 87 Topps Don Mattingly is missing a trademark, I think. But it has a script error in the back. It says he had 10 hits instead of 101 hits. That one I'll get just because it's Don Mattingly. But I gotta be a little pickier with my errors. But that one, Mark McGwire, not the error. I would have liked to see that one. All right, Steve Trout. There's a Dave Winfield All-Star. Dave Martinez, Eddie Whitson, Mel Hall, Bill Allman, Tommy John, Wade Boggs All-Star, Les Straker. There's a record breaker, Vince Coleman. There's a turn back the clock, Nolan Ryan. I want that card. 1983 Nolan Ryan is probably a nice card now. Tom Nito, Manny Trillo, Jack Morris. Thought about Morris. Bill Long, Sammy Stewart, Bob Gibson. I used to have that card. I wonder where it is. I bet it's in my collection somewhere. Mike Hart, Rick Shue, Willie Randolph. There's one of my Yankees second basemen. Junior Noboa, Gary Thurman, Kent Tekulve, Darrell Evans, Chuck Jackson, Steve Henderson, Tim Leary, Jeff Dedman, John Christensen, Kurt Gibson, Jose Rio, and Steve Balboni. Steve Balboni, I don't know why, but maybe because his name's close. Always remembers me of the Brooklyn Brawler. I don't remember what his name is. It's Steve something like that. And he kind of looks like a wrestler, like a jobber wrestler, if you watch old WWE. So I always say, every time I see Steve Balboni, I think of the Brooklyn Brawler. All right, we got Greg Caderet, Don Baylor, Sean Raleigh. This is one of those, you get people that make the All-Star, have a decent first half of the season and make the All-Star team, but are never really an All-Star. You never even know they were on the All-Star team once their career's over. That's Shane Raleigh was that year, I guess. Greg Swindell, Ricky Henderson, Don Schultz, Steve Kiefer, Mike Fitzgerald, Ernie Witt, Junior Ortiz, Tim Raines, Ken Dixon, Joey Mayer, Lee Smith, Ricky Horton. There's a checklist. One of these checklists have an error, but not worried about it. Butch Weiniger. I mean, it may not have an error. One of the has a potential for an error. Denny Walling, Brett Saberhagen, Dave Palmer. Dean Palmer is a different player. Johnny Ray, Jim Traber, Kirk McCaskill, Jimmy Key. Oh, nice big dot right on Jimmy Key's face. Jim Presley, Eric Show, Bill Matlock, Jim Clancy, Phil Bradley, Dave Clark, Roger Clemens, Shane Mack, Jeff Hamilton, Jimmy Williams, manager, Willie McGee, Lloyd McClendon, Tom Niedenfur, Bobby Bonilla, that young Bobby Bonilla, Kevin McReynolds, Rich Yett, Billy Ripken, Bill Buckner, the famous Bill Buckner, Rick Aguilera. Put in the comments if you know why Bill Buckner's famous. Keith Moreland, Jody Davis, Jay Bell, met him. He was a Pirate at the time. Tony Bernazard, he was at the Little League where I played. Kent Herbeck. Herbeck was a first baseman. I was thinking he was an outfielder. I was thinking he was a DH, which he probably was. Dennis Boyd, Mark Sullivan, Rick Sutcliffe. Sutcliffe probably makes the Cubs pitching squad, maybe. Sid Breen, Bruce Bochy, Ken Gerhardt, Jim Ganter, Scott Geraltz, Astros. That is going to be Billy Hatcher and Glenn Davis. Doesn't say on the card though. You have to just see their names and remember that's what they looks like. Steve Lyons. Alright, we're about halfway done, a little more than halfway done. Starting off with a Fred Lynn, Wally Joyner, Tony La Russa, Brad Havens, Gary Pettis, Tim Tuffle, Jamie Quirk, Mike Stantley, Gerald Perry, Bob Forsch, Fred Manrique, Todd Whirl, Bob Ojeda, Devin White rookie. That's one I chased back in the day. Not really doing that now. Gerald Young, Pete Rose, manager, Joe McKeon, Chris James, Larry Boa, Ruben Sierra, Domingo Ramos, Ozzie Smith, James Steele, Charlie Huff, Checklist, Charlie Polio, Dick Williams, Vince Coleman, Mike Jackson, Bob Welsh, and Checklist. Greg Walker, John Smiley, Rick Russell, Yankees leaders Willie Randolph and Dave Winfield, Tom Stoddard, Steve Farr, Greg Gagne. Gagne was a shortstop. Gaetti was the third baseman. Gagne was a shortstop. Good to know. Jay Aldrich, Dennis Eckersley, Dodgers leaders Fernando and Pedro, George Hendricks, Willie Hernandez, Mike Doon, Pat Perry, Tom O'Malley, Dan Schnatzender, Juan Castillo. There it is. That's an error. Unfortunately, it's got a red dot on the hat. But this is not Al Leiter. This is one of the most famous errors of the time period, with the Billy Ripken bat being probably the only thing I can think of offhand that's more famous than this. Not worth anything, but that is not Al Leiter. I forget who it is, but Al Leiter is a completely different guy. So we got the Al Leiter error. That's kind of cool. Gene Mosh, Bruce Benedict, Ken Schrom, Will Clark, and Dwayne Ward. All right, guys, we got about three stacks of about that much left. Calvin Schiraldi, Rick Muller, Mariners leaders Harold Reynolds and some other guy. I'm going to guess Alvin Davis. I'm going to guess Alvin Davis. Benito Santiago, Frank Lucchesi, John Cerruti, Casey Candali, Jose Canseco, Brewers leaders, that's Glenn Braggs and Dale Swain. It's not even on the back, but I believe that's who that is. Ray Quinones, Gary Carter, Ted Power, Orioles leaders Cal Ripken and Eddie Murray, Hal Lanier, Doc Edwards, manager, Bill Doran, Astros, Jeffrey Leonard, Dion James, Angel leader Wally Joyner, and I don't know who that is. Maybe Brian Downing? It's not Mike Witt. I guess Brian Downing. Could be wrong. Ernie Riles, Kelly Gruber, Mike Marshall, Jay Baller, Tom Kelly, Jim Pankotovitz, Tom Hurt, Pete Incavilla. I did talk about Pete Incavilla yesterday. Listed as an outfielder. Dave Parker, Storm Davis, Scott Sanderson, Kurt Ford, Juan Nieves, John Candelaria, Greg Maddux. I remember right. This is Maddox's first Topps card. I don't know if it gets a rookie consideration. And I definitely know it wouldn't nowadays because he probably has an 87 Topps traded. But back when I was collecting, that's not exactly how things worked. You could have a traded rookie and have a rookie in the next. There wasn't only one rookie. Nowadays, if you have it in the traded set, it's not considered your rookie, your true rookie. And he may have a traded, but he didn't have an 87 Topps card. He did have an 87 Donruss card. So he had some 87 rookies, but not in Topps. And then that's his first Topps card. Again, he may have a traded. Probably has a traded. Whitey Herzog, John Habignan, Hojo Howard Johnson, Cecil Fielder, Daryl Akerfeld, Gary Matthews. Gary Matthews might have been the other guy in the Mariners one. Dave Johnson, Jose Cruz. Don Mattingly record breaker. 6 Grand Slams in 1 year. I remember that. Donald Arthur Mattingly. All right, checklist. Pat Sheridan, Greg Nettles, Bruce Hurst, Bob James, Dwight Gooden, Kelly Downs, Pat Basilio, John Russell, Mike Young, Bob Rogers, and Billy Bean. Hey, you guys know Billy Bean, right? And it's a Billy Bean rookie. If you ever saw Moneyball, that is Brad Pitt. Doesn't it look like him? Alright, second to last stack. Here we go. Kevin Gross, Joel Skinner, Tony Phillips, Indians leaders dupe, Andre Dawson dupe, Ken Overfelt dupe, Scott Fletcher probably dupe. Most of these are probably dupes at this point. John Franco, Ross Jones, Juan Samuel, Tom Candiati. Gee whiz, I was in my brain saying Candiati the whole time and couldn't get it out. Doug Jones, Jeff Stone, Shawan Dunston, Dave Henderson, Andy Hawkins, Barry Larkin, Joe Heskett, Willie Randolph, Jim Dwyer, Spike Owen, Dwayne Boose, Dale Mahormick, Nelson Liriano, Kirby Puckett, and Donald Mann. Oh, look at how badly that's got a gum stain. It's my guy, but I guess I'll take it, but I gotta upgrade. Jay Howell, Hubie Brooks, Bobby Witt, Len Matsuzek, Andy McGaffin, Matt Noakes rookie. That was a card I chased back in the day. Floyd Yalmans, Mark Gubazat, Mickey Brantley, Tony Gwynn, Eddie Murray, Neil Heaton, Eric Davis, Alex Trevino, and Jeff Parrott. All right, final little stack there. Eric Davis. There's an Cincinnati Red I may have to consider when it comes to Cincinnati Red all-time outfielders. My all-time Cincinnati Red outfielders, I should say. All right, Luis Aguayo, Nolan Ryan record breaker. No base Nolan Ryan. Mario Soto, Mickey Tettleton, Jerry Don Gleedon, Mike Greenwell, Todd Benzinger, that's another rookie, even though it doesn't say it. Eddie Murray, record breakers. Now, I don't remember if this is the error or not the error. Let's look. There's one that has a box, and it writes what it is. And I think this is the regular one, and the error is the one that has the box. So, and they don't call them errors in this. This one says error and correct. This one says variation. Box in front, no caption in front. It doesn't say which one it's supposed to be. But what I will say is none of the other ones, no other record breaker has a box in front of it. So I think the box in front of it is the error, the variation. And this is just what it's supposed to look like. Still, Eddie Murray. All right, we got Ron Bloomberg, turn back the clock, Jim Sundberg, Ken Daly, Lou Whitaker, Jose Oquindo, Ron Karkovice, Tom Brookins, Steve Betterosen, Bill Schroeder, Keith Hughes, Lonnie Smith, Frank Williams, Bobby Valentine, Argentis Salazar, Eddie Milner, Greg Matthews, Mike Morgan, Harold Baines, Randy Myers, Sam Horn, Todd Frithworth, Ted Simmons, Juan Berenger, Willie Frazier, Gene Nelson, Darnell Coles, Juan Benitez, Shawan Dunston, Lee Alaya, Nelson Liriano, Bob Derner, Doug Sick, Steve Lake, Harold Reynolds, Larry Sheets, Mark Grant, Jeff Calhoun, Bob Brentley, Jim DeHasis, DeShazies. It's not even a no one. He's the someone. I can't pronounce his name. Mark Gubazar, Ken Williams, Mike Fielder, Tim Hullett, Alan Trammell, Herm Winningham, Paul Kalingas, Tony Gwynn. I was wondering. Jim Fregosi, Brian Downing, John Kruk. That's a Kruk rookie. Chuck Tanner, Leon Durham, Marvell Wayne, and Jeff Robinson. And by a rookie, I mean the same thing as the Greg Maddux one. He doesn't have an 87 tops, I believe. So, all right, guys, not bad at all. I enjoyed opening it. We got to see all the cards of old, of the yesteryear. Got a couple things that I'm going to want to grab out of there. Not much, but a couple things, including the Al Leiter rookie. There were some disappointments. Let's see. From Stu's list, he didn't get a Ken Caminiti rookie. He didn't get a Robin Yount base. He didn't get a Barry Bonds base. All he got was the McGuire and the Tom Glavine. He asked for 5 cards, and he got 2. So that's a little sad. Now, there are a couple other things in there that he may not have known or thought about. He wanted the Mark McGuire. He didn't mention the Mark McGuire record breaker, but maybe he wanted that. Maybe he wanted the Bo Jackson and forgot. Maybe he wanted the Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco team leaders. He could have also wanted the Pirates team leaders with Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonilla. So there are options in there if for him to get a couple other cards that he may just not have thought about. On top of it, the other things that we didn't get to see along with the cards that he was looking for, the Barry Bonds and stuff like that, but didn't get a Nolan Ryan, didn't get a. That's weird that they don't fit in there now, even though they all came out and there are 4 less cards in there. Very odd. Well, we're not gonna force them in there. So, we didn't get any of the errors except for the Al Leiter. We didn't get, what did I say, Nolan Ryan. We didn't get, I'm trying to think of the other guys from that time. We got the McGuire. We didn't get a Barry Bonds, which we said. So, we didn't get a base Don Mattingly. Didn't get, that was what I was looking for, was a base Don Mattingly. I got the All-Star Don Mattingly. I got the record breaker Don Mattingly, but no base. So a lot of good things I would have liked to have seen that I didn't. I don't think we got a base Ozzie Smith. We only got the All-Star Ozzie Smith. But there's 500 cards and there's nearly 800 cards in the set, so we knew there were going to be some things missing. We'll have to, decide if how important Robin Yount, which I would love a Robin Yount. The other Brewer. I can't think of. No, Ryan Sandberg, not a Brewer, but my other guy, Paul Molitor. No Paul Molitor. So a lot of people I would have liked to see their card, and it didn't come up. So I have to decide if I'm interested enough to pick up one of these to see if we can hit some of those other guys. If Sugar really wants Barry Bonds that much that he wants to buy another one to try to get the Barry Bonds, we'll see. And if so, it'll be here. What's in the Box Wednesday, episode 43 maybe. Who knows? Probably not 43, because 43 is only 9 more episodes away. Because this is 33, and I've got more than 9 boxes over there to open right now. So, guys, I'm going to get going. We'll see you next week, and by next week I mean, I'll air next week, but and we will be opening. Let's see. Next, we're going to be opening Topps Big Baseball. We're going to try something a little different. This is one of the first things we are opening from that time period that I've never seen. That's not true. I've seen 1 or 2 of the cards, but I haven't seen like the whole set. I don't know, aside, I see the Mark McGuire card there, but aside from that card, I don't know what most of these cards look like. So that's going to be exciting. We're going to do that next Wednesday. That would be the 26th, and we'll see you there.